Hello and welcome to today's Movers and Shakers virtual event. My name is Natasha Salter and I'm Managing Director of Movers and Shakers. I hope you're all having a really great Wednesday. Now, I know most of you logged on today know all about Movers and Shakers, but if you don't, we're 25 years of age this year. The aim has always been to connect people in the property and construction industry, those that can make decisions, that are influencers, that are leaders in the industry, private sector and public sector. And we're also known for putting on our great events, our famous breakfast forums, and also our conferences. And we like to make sure that we cover all the topics in the industry and the most pertinent issues, which is why we've put together this year for 2020 4 pillars: sustainability, inclusivity, social value, and technology, themes that must run through all of our events. Now, today is our 21st virtual event since April, which we're really proud of and we've really enjoyed. And if you've missed any of these, do go onto our YouTube channel, do take a look, enjoy and subscribe. So today we have one of our views from the top sessions, which is an interview with Chief Executive and leaders. So today we have Nick Walkley, who is Chief Executive of Homes England, an amazing organisation, housing accelerator for the government. But it's a views from the top with a difference. So we have three young people. We welcome John, Pippa and Al Hassan, who are going to be interviewing Nick today. They are three Brainees. Now you may, and I hope you do know of Regeneration Brainery. It's a fantastic organisation connecting young people, and we're talking about school leavers to undergraduate level, with property and construction, and particularly, as the name says, regeneration. Now, we know that our industry wants to be diverse and we know we need new skills, new talent, but it can sometimes be hard to engage with young people, which is really, really important. And Regeneration Brainery is doing a fantastic job of making these connections with young people and also with their influencers, with their parents, carers, with careers advisors and teachers, which is really, really important. And they've got a program called Our Future, which connects these young people with mentors in the industry to help them with their connections, to help them with knowledge, understanding, and all the opportunities. And we will send you information on this afterwards, because it'd be great to get more people involved, and we really support them at Movers and Shakers. And I want a quick shout out to Sarah Gallagher, who works for These 4 Words, who's doing the comms for them, and she's absolutely fantastic, and she's done a really good job on today. So I'm going to welcome you to John, to Pippa and Al Hassan, and of course Nick. And our three young Brainees today have written their own questions, so they're really going to be probing Nick here. Really looking forward to today's discussion. So welcome Nick, welcome John, welcome Pippa and Al Hassan.
It's great to be here. Well,
hello.
Here in my own bedroom, but here virtually, if you know what I mean.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to leave the three young people to interview you here, Nick. I'm going to hand straight over to John and let him take the floor. Thanks all. Enjoy.
Thank you. Hi, I'm John and I'm a Brainee of Regeneration Brainery. This is a program which inspires young people to work within the property and construction by connecting us with the industry mentors who talk about what it's really like. The industry needs new and diverse voices. I'm at secondary, going into A-levels, and I'd like to go into architecture and become one of these new voices.
Hi, I'm Pippa and I'm 18. I've just finished my A-levels. I'm also wanting to go on to do architecture. At the moment though, my friends and I are quite worried about our futures because of the coronavirus, how it stops our exams, how it's creating unemployment, and we're worried about finding placement.
Hi, my name is Al Hassan and I also am a Brainee with Regeneration Brainery. I'm going into 6th form in September and I'd like to go into project management in construction. I've met with other mentors thanks to Regeneration Brainery. Today, Pippa, John and I are speaking to Nick Walkley from Homes England, who is one of our Brainery mentors. We've got some questions for him. We've got a lot of questions for a lot of our mentors. Hello, Nick.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here. Big up the Regen Brainery. What a fantastic programme.
So, Nick, what does Homes England do?
Oh, crikey. Homes England is billed as the government's housing accelerator. What that really means in simple terms is we're a huge investor, a bank that invests where the private sector won't, in everything from short-term loans all the way through to really big infrastructure projects. We're a land developer, so we buy land, we bring land to the market, and we master plan very large sites, including the largest single site in the country at the moment. We're effectively building, supporting the building of a town. We provide all the affordable housing funding from central government to housing associations. But I think more important than all of those things, we try and ensure leadership in the sector, promoting new methods of construction, talent, and building capacity across the sector to ensure that it reflects the communities and the needs of working. We also deliver the Help to Buy programme on our day off.
All right, that's good to hear. Who do you work with, and what do you do?
Oh, crikey. So the question, what do you do, Nick, is one that I think quite a lot of my current colleagues ask on a daily basis. Being chief executive is very often feels like everything and nothing. I guess my main job is to provide leadership to an executive team who are then responsible for all of the huge programs of delivery across the country. And I spend a lot of my time working with ministers, senior civil servants, as well as with well-known house builders, those people looking to deliver more into the sector, engaging with as wide a range of people as possible. One of the things I say as a mentor is build your network. Don't be afraid of reaching out to people. Get along to events. Find people you have strong connections with. It's a critical part of moving your career on to build that wider network.
What would you say the work environment's like?
At Homes England?
Yeah.
Well, at the moment, the work environment is mainly people's bedrooms and kitchen tables being interrupted by flatmates, children, and the need to cook dinner. More seriously, what we're trying to do in Homes England is create a modern work environment, one that's collaborative, where people from different sectors with different skills can come together to solve problems. So we employ bankers, qualified planners, surveyors, public servants, people with architecture backgrounds, landscape people, and their job, alongside developers, commercial people, lawyers, is to work together creatively to bring the right solution to bear that brings gets more homes built. All of that happens in something that is both in the public sector but also in the private sector. So I want it to be a fun, energizing and creative place to work. To that end, we've created new offices and new work environments. I think I can safely say that our London office, what many of the people tuning in will view as our headquarters, is our worst office by some distance. And actually, the hub of our activity is moving to Coventry, Liverpool, Manchester, and Newcastle, into fantastic new locations, flexible workspace that people can come, interact with each other and deliver the kind of results we desperately need to get more homes built. The other thing I'd say is it's also a pretty welcoming environment. We've been recruiting right through lockdown. So people who never visited an office, never met a Homes England person directly, have been through the entire recruitment process and are now working remotely to deliver on our behalf. And I meet every new starter and they all say, actually, this is an incredibly welcoming place. We want talent. We're desperate to grow capability and capacity. And occasionally I'm quite miserable. People learn to ignore it. It's okay.
Yeah. When did you start working at Homes England and what did you do before?
Oh, okay. So I've been working for Homes England for 3 years, 5 months, and 1 day. Not that I'm counting. I joined from being chief executive of the London Borough of Haringey. So I ran the council there. Just an amazing place to work. with fantastic communities and enormous social challenges. And working in that place had a huge and profound effect on me and the issues that I think about. Before that, I was Chief Executive of the London Borough of Barnet in North London, a huge and ambitious borough with really exciting regeneration and development plans. And I've spent probably a career that makes me look quite old, working in and around local government and local public services, doing pretty much every job at some point that you could imagine. My background is, in the dim distance past, I was actually a university lecturer.
The Brainery has introduced us to mentors. Have you ever had a mentor?
Oh yeah, so I'm a huge fan of mentoring, coaching, and those one-to-one personal development sessions. They're, to me, absolutely critical to give you the space to sort of reflect openly and honestly. Even with a close friend, it can be really difficult, can't it, to talk about issues you're experiencing in your work, in your studies. So finding somebody you can talk to those issues about, to provide a nudge, a bit of reflection, a bit of space, is really, really important. And we are, at Homes England, enthusiastic supporters of mentoring programs, not just mentoring programs for colleagues, but also colleagues providing mentoring. And as part of our ongoing work to create a more inclusive organisation, we're also in the early stages of introducing reverse mentoring. I've as much to learn from your experiences, Pippa, as you have from me. I genuinely cannot know what it's like to be a young person facing the challenges they do. And I think there's an awful lot we can learn from these sessions. It's why I'm here. I'm not doing it to sort of big the agency up. I'm also here to learn. And my advice always, I was chatting to a new starter yesterday. My advice always is when you go into mentoring, write a job description out. What do you want from your mentor? What are you expecting? Because then you'll be much clearer about the kind of person you need, and also how long you might need that mentor for. And it's really helpful if you are the mentor to be clear about those expectations. Just thinking, oh, I'll get X because I kind of like them, or Y because they're important, probably isn't the right approach. Actually, just taking a bit of time to think, how do I want to spend, 3 or 4 hours over a period of months with this person? What am I looking to get out of it? Is a really great way into finding the right kind of mentor. And I continue to have a professional coach. I've had mentors, and I think about constantly my network and where I can go for, new views, different takes. It's an absolutely critical part of both developing yourself and developing your career.
At Homes England, do you have placements for uni students or work experience placements for school students? And if so, how could we apply to those?
Yeah, so at present, we don't have a big structured program, and it's a big gap in what we do. And we are now actively thinking about how we engage with that. It's partly why we're so heavily involved in the Brainery, because we're really interested in what's the right kind of experience. What we're really anxious to avoid is either the sort of tourism, you just kind of get shown around and then are left in a corner, or the even worse photocopier experience. We've piloted and had a number of students come to do work experience, which has involved working on actual projects, working with different professions, understanding how the disciplines work together. And we've had some success, and what we want to do now is to scale that up. We'd be really keen for you to keep an eye on our social media feeds, because we're hoping to step those processes up, and we'll be looking for people who proactively want to come and work for us. It's really important to us that we, whether it's a placement, whether it's an apprenticeship, whether it's a graduate trainee, we've just launched our new graduate program. It's people who share our passion for housing and our purpose to tackle some inequalities in the market. But I've been quite cautious about just offering some sort of work experience scheme that I hate what I call equalities box ticking. Oh, well, we've done that and now we can move on to the next thing. We need a meaningful engagement. And we found our work, particularly with the Brainery, really gets to the heart of some of that by letting young people understand what's actually genuinely involved in this industry and the breadth of skills. But hey, Pippa, if you're really keen, you should drop us a line. We're not hard to find.
Okay, thank you. I'll keep that in mind. And you mentioned an apprenticeship program. How is that in Homes England? Is that a big part of it?
So at present, our apprenticeship program, unfortunately, has been slightly restricted to a small set of professions. So we have a strong track record historically of taking people, young people, and taking them through established apprenticeship routes in particularly finance or office-based programs. We now need to develop access routes for the wider skill set we know is out there into other professions. And so we intend through the autumn to begin to advertise those opportunities. And we're working with 2 universities to think about how we blend apprenticeship with professional qualification. We know, don't we, the graduate entry is not the choice for everyone because of what it means about the cost of education going through university. We're really keen to look at other routes and to work with other organisations on that. But we advertise all of our opportunities now through our website and through the .gov UK website. In fact, there's a really healthy offering of both entry-level jobs and apprenticeships across quite a bit of Gov UK at the moment, and I really recommend you have a look.
Okay, thank you.
Why would we choose to work at Homes England over anywhere else? Because
the chief exec's great, good-looking, and easygoing. Is that the answer I was meant to give, Alison? What we're trying to do in Homes England is to involve people in a mission. So to create a purpose-driven organisation that's about tackling the issues in the housing market. And what we therefore want are people who share in that vision and that purpose, who want more than the paycheck, who feel they've got a contribution to make. But we also want people who are therefore really willing to stretch themselves. You know, if you're turning up with the expectation of the 9 to 5, it's going to be a very, very confusing place, because we have people working strange hours. We're really interested in, working parents coming back into the workforce. We've got a whole move at the moment to people working when they need to because of the challenges of COVID. It's not affected our productivity one bit. But also we want people who are prepared to stretch themselves by working with different disciplines, maybe in different parts of the country. And the sort of deal is, if you work for us, there's the opportunity to work on bigger projects, to gain wider experience, but it does mean taking on responsibility. So our newly launched graduate programme is really clear. Yes, we will offer placements and support. Yes, we will offer ongoing development for graduates. But actually, this is a real job on day one. We're turning up to make a contribution to the agency in a real project with real work. This is not turning up to see if it's interesting. And what we want is an agency that's full of people who are here because they think they can make a contribution, and we want to support them to do that. The other thing I'd say, however, is this is still the property sector plus the public sector, which means for a lot of people who join, the first month is just trying to figure out what on earth all the acronyms mean. Followed by another month realizing that you've been confused about the different acronyms and have probably used the wrong one in a conversation at some point. And we're an organisation now of 11 people. So finding out about everyone, understanding it can feel like sort of moving to a new place. So joining, we recognise can be quite a challenging experience, and we need to do more about that. We want to make it exciting, engaging, and above all, we want this to be a place where people feel like they can build their career and be stretched. I guess I should also say this is a place where we're not obsessed about people staying for their career. We want people to come at all points in their career, because what we want them to do is to build their skill set, build their experience, share our values, share our way of doing things, and then go back into the sector to help change the whole housing and real estate. Because it's not good enough for us to be a sort of interesting, exciting, diverse public sector island in the middle of the private sector. We've also got a responsibility to support change and identify change agents in all the other organisations around us. And it's been really energising and exciting to know that as we've developed our graduate entry programme, the number of private sector organisations who've said, actually, let's swap graduate trainees. Let's actually get involved in sharing some learning at that level as soon as possible, so that we are, part of leading change and not just sitting on the sidelines. Hope that makes sense.
What is the best city to invest in for property in the UK?
Suddenly everybody's ears prick up who's listening in. Oh, crikey. Oh, no. So what you're doing here, Al-Hassan, is you're putting me on the spot, and I'm going to make somebody really happy and everybody else pretty fed up. So thanks for that. But here goes. I think what we're seeing is that places outside of London are growing in confidence about their offer and their long-term offer. And where Manchester was a trailblazer for that and remains, a fantastic place to invest and work, with great record shops as well. Actually, others are now developing really fantastic and energising opportunities. So we're heavily committed to Bristol, where the work of the regional mayor Tim and the city mayor Marvin is really cutting a swathe and creating, I think, global standard regeneration city-based opportunities, which are really exciting. The work going on in Birmingham and the West Midlands is really seeing the second city step up to the plate, and we're hugely excited by that. But what's really encouraging is that some of those other cities that are often feel further away are really developing a smart offer. So we're moving a big chunk of our activity into Newcastle as part of a development sponsored by the council and Legal and General that is creating a knowledge research sector in the city, which is to be really admired, and there's tremendous work going on there. So I'm avoiding the question. Bristol's great at the moment, though. Did you get that message?
Yeah. You also said you want to make the property and construction industry more diverse, more modern, more progressive. We've talked about apprenticeships, placements, and mentoring. How else are you doing this?
There are a few things here. The first is, look, house building in the UK has got a major long-term problem, which is, the way we build houses and what we build is more like it was 120 years ago than it should be. Still a lot of very traditional methods, heavily dependent on particular skills and low-skilled labour, brick and block production. Our view is that there is a different kind of sector that can emerge here that's digitally designed, factory produced, sustainable, and significantly capable of being adapted and bespoke, that allows everybody from community groups all the way through to major builders to engage in the process of house building. And we think in doing that, we can reap the benefits of technology and modern ways of working that you see in many other sectors, and that can help create a more inclusive sector. It's why we've invested in a joint venture with a Japanese company called Sekisu and a UK company, Urban Splash, to create a house builder built around modular housing. It's why we're supporting Ilka Homes, another modular builder, and why we're in partnership with lots of these smaller new entrants to encourage a different way of thinking about house building. And actually, we think creating that space for new entrants opens up opportunities for people who might not actually have thought about this as the entrepreneurial career that they want. You know, we're up against other really attractive sectors, aren't we? But we think there's much we can do in that space to change how we think about construction, but also how we think about the sector. But the other thing is, I think as a senior public official, I've got to use the platform I've got to say challenging things about inclusion and diversity. What I learned when listening to my own BAME colleagues, when listening to our fantastic LGBTQ network, was that my experience as a white middle-aged bloke in the workplace and in society is vastly different to that from underrepresented groups. And therefore, I've got to use my privilege to act as an ally and speak out on those issues. So it is simply not acceptable for me to sort of give a passing nod to these things are important. We've all got a role at a senior level to play in actually naming problems and then challenging others to do something about that. So, you know, we as an agency over the last year have made enormous strides on LGBTQ issues. We've taken part in significant learning and development, and we want to do more of those things to create the right kind of inclusive workplace. But I'm also going to start asking others, why are you not doing this?
So should we be worried about our futures?
Oh, crikey, Hassan, did you decide you wanted all the really, really tough questions? This is a time like nothing we've ever experienced, is it? I mean, it's just extraordinary what every day feels like. You know, I don't know about you, but I still get up in the morning, and because I'm not immediately putting on a sort of work outfit and getting on the tube, I kind of have a sort of a double take of, am I on holiday? What's going on here, before I kind of, you know, your brain resorts itself. And therefore, it is really, really difficult, I think, to predict the very short-term future. You know, if nothing else, those families on the motorway on the way to Eid family celebrations on Thursday will tell you, you know, things are just incredibly uncertain at the moment, aren't they? But there are some long-term truths about the UK's housing sector which do not change. The most obvious of which is we don't build enough houses, and the houses we've got aren't sufficient to deliver for all the people in need and who want to own a home, who want a secure place to rent, and that therefore, at some point over the coming months and years, the requirement for more talent to be in the sector to support the delivery of more homes in better planned places doesn't go away. In fact, I think COVID has only just emphasised how really, really important a home is, because we've all spent an awful lot of time in them thinking about what on earth it means to be here. And my sense is we'll come out of this really challenging period more demanding of the places that we're building, with higher expectations. And that means people who, and particularly young people who want to forge a career in this space, have got real opportunity. And, you know, it feels to me that changes in the high street, changes in the patterns of working are also a kind of a creative opportunity to do different things in different ways. And that's the space I think we've all got to enthusiastically, if, you know, for an old so-and-so like me, slightly frightenedly jump into, because we'll be looking from leadership from, you know, people like you to move things forward.
Right, Nick, on behalf of Regeneration Brainery and everyone watching, we would like to say thank you for spending your lunchtime with us.
That's no problem whatsoever. I can see one question on the chat, which I'm quite prepared in the 2 minutes to answer, which is about our reflecting minority needs in our developments and in the developments we support. This is a really great question and really difficult. And we are thinking about what the right way to do that. But a great start is, as we procure going forward, we're actually going to start asking really searching questions about how the people who deliver for us are putting inclusion, diversity into their own organisations, into their recruitment, and into the work that they do. Because all the rules in the world are no substitute for actually having diverse and inclusive workplaces where different voices are being heard that influence the work that's done. And I think we've got a really critical role to do in responding to that. So there you go. Can I say thank you to the three of you? I thoroughly enjoyed that half an hour, and I hope it was useful.
Yeah, thank you very much. Again, I would like to say, and we'd like to invite you to connect with us through LinkedIn. Anyone else who's also listening, if you'd like to connect and give us some advice on our futures, that would be very helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll be sharing this information that you've given us on social media, including Twitter, LinkedIn, and on the Regeneration Brainery website. We hope that we can speak to you again in the future with any further questions.
Stay in touch, guys. Stay in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, all. I just want to say thank you from Movers and Shakers, of course, to Nick for taking this time and answering the brilliant questions, and obviously to John, to Pippa, to Al Hassan. Fantastic questions, and I really found it refreshing, you guys asking the questions. And obviously I love the reverse mentoring, because we do need the voice of the young people. And I think, you know, it's not easy times, and especially with change of exams, results, and how this is all twisting and turning. You know, it's difficult and it's uncertain. But I still believe you guys, you know, you're the change makers of the future. This is a great opportunity. Everybody's going to be looking to you to be the leaders, you know, possibly sooner than you would have been. It's a great time of opportunity. And I think in the built environment, you think how vast the built environment is. You know, you've got so many points at which you can jump in and get involved and try new things. And this is a time for real kind of innovation and new thought and keeping up with new technologies. So I think we could all do with some advice on how to use the new technologies. But this has been really fantastic. Thank you all. And the three of you are clearly one step ahead of everybody else by being so proactive. So keep it up. We'll continue to engage with you. And next week, just to tell our audience out there, we've got another session with Regeneration Brainery, and Louise Wyman of the Manchester City Council now is going to be interviewed by two Brainees, and that's next Thursday the 13th, midday. So have your lunch with Louise and the Brainees. But it's been a really fantastic session today. I've really, really enjoyed it. We will send you information to engage with Regeneration Brainery, and it's, of course, a very worthy cause. And well done to those three. I think it took a lot of effort and confidence to do that at 16 and 18, so we should congratulate them all. Thank you so much, and take care from our family to yours. Have a good day.